you're studying to get a 1450 or higher on the SAT, there is something that you have to know in order to do well on the SAT. And I'm going to dive right into it today. Today, I'm going to talk to you all about the importance of knowing the difference of squares. And so I'm going to break down what it is. But if you don't know the difference of squares when you're doing your exam, there are a lot of questions that you may get tripped up on. And so we want to help you to fix that today. So I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to look at an example question. So let's say you see a question like this on the SAT. We have x equals 4 times m squared. And we have that y is 2x plus m and 2x minus m. And so a lot of students might not be familiar with what the difference of squares is. And so they have no idea where to start with this, right? The question is asking us to give the equation, or given the two equations above, right? What we want to do, given the two equations above, we want to figure out, well, what is y in terms of x? And I always say you want to underline what you're being asked, and you want to note y equals, okay? Always try to put that out the way. Okay, so now what is the difference of squares? Now, the difference of squares is going to tell us that you have a, and I'm just going to put it on the side here. So you have a squared minus b squared. Well, that's going to be equal to a minus b times a plus b. And so you might be, well, what is this a and what is this b? It doesn't matter. As long as you have the difference of two things squared, this is what the factors breaks down to be. And so if I look here at y, right, looking at y, we see what is given. What is given here is actually the right side of the difference of squares, right? And let me just say, right, of course, we're talking about difference of squares. So this is telling me that this is my a and this is my b when it comes to the difference of squares, okay? So it's going to be important that you understand this formula here. This, again, is your a and this is your b. So it works, okay? So we can utilize the difference of squares. Now, what do we need to do here is maybe I can bring it back to this side here or rewrite it with the left side. And so if I'm saying that a equals 2m, right? And b is equal to 1, what does that mean for me? And let me bring it down here. Okay, so we have that a equals 2m and b equals 1. So then if I want to put it in the form a squared minus b squared, what will I be doing? Well, that means I'm going to square 2m, right? And I'm going to square 1. And so this would be what? 4m squared and then minus 1. So that would be what's equivalent to, so we have 4m squared minus 1. That's what y is, okay? Notice that this is my y, 4m squared minus 1. Okay, that's y. Now the question is asking us, not what is y, it's asking us for y in terms of x. So I need to be able to incorporate x into this to give me y. But they told us that what? X is 4m squared. So in fact, if I'm looking at this, I can replace this with x because that's what x is equal to. So x minus 1. So what I'm being told here is y is equal to x minus 1. And so my answer is A. Okay? Now, let's say that for some reason you couldn't have gotten this without the difference of squares. That took me about a minute or two to complete, okay? And so I like to do a comparison of, okay, if I don't know something, how long will it take me? So what I'm going to do now is, let's say you don't know anything about the difference of squares or anything of that nature. One thing I always say, and let me erase here, okay? One thing I always say, whenever you get questions like these, you always want to make everything look the same. When I say everything look the same, you want to try as best as possible to make both expressions look the same. And so right now, they're not in the same format, right? One is factored and one is regular, right? One is factored and one is regular. So when I say regular, non-factored. So what I can do is put this in the non-factored form. And you don't have to know the difference of squared to do that. So let's say we have 2m plus 1 here, and then we have 2m minus 1. So what I would do here is just do my distributive factor in here, or distribution property. So 2m times 2m will give me 4m squared. 2m times -1 would be -2m. 1 times 2m would be plus 2m. And then 1 times -1 would be what? Minus 1. Okay, and so if I simplify this, these will disappear because you have -2m plus 2m. That's 0. So we have 4m squared minus 1. And I'll arrive back at my answer, just not as quick as if I knew to say that, oh, this is 4m squared minus 1, just by knowing my difference of squares. And so again, you can see here that we can plug this in for x. So this becomes x minus 1. And again, we'll arrive at answer choice A. Okay, so yes. The difference of squares, I tell all of my students when we're prepping them, do keep a sheet of things that you want to study or be familiar with on the SAT, because they want you to know the difference of squares. We see that so many times in every single practice exam, there is a question on the difference of squares. So you want to make sure that you are very familiar with it and you can spot it readily once you see it. Okay? Hope this was helpful. Do like, share, and subscribe if you want more tips on this channel. My sole aim is to bridge the wealth gap, and one of the ways we do that is by helping students gain scholarships for college, because we know that once our students get scholarships, graduate debt-free, they're already in a different income bracket. All right, and so share this video with anybody you know who may be prepping for the SAT and wants to do well enough to get a scholarship. Until next time.